The second thing you got to have is a message. Message that is clear, understandable. Okay. By the way, guys, in a little bit here, I love this so much. I love this so much. I will go on forever without breaks or eating or anything like that. But I know that most people aren't. Most people are like, when's the next break? I could go all day without breaks, right? That's just, I don't know, maybe it's something I learned from Tony, right? So after this particular section, when we do this exercise, we will break, and you guys can do this a little bit longer of an exercise during breaks. Okay, so we're almost there. We're almost there. Okay. So I apologize. So the second thing you got to have is a message, right? A message, because a message makes you human. It makes you relatable. Okay, it makes you relatable, and the best way to basically describe your message is essentially your hero's journey. If your job is to create heroes, your job is to be the guide. That means that the hero that wants to be the hero that has selected you as a guide wants to know that you actually went through your own hero's journey, right? That you've gone through the threshold, right? The abyss, that you actually went and found the elixir, and that you actually were able to find it and come back. And now you're ready to share the elixir with the world. So your hero's journey is your origin story. This is your message, right? And I want you guys to write this down. Your message, Bill Walsh taught me, your message is too small, is too big to play small. Okay. And the best way to tell a story is something that I learned on my own, that I built my own story on. It's called the pain, the path, the passion. Three very simple storytelling steps that really walks people through your hero's journey and how you have now positioned yourself as the guide, the mentor, to help them be the hero. And it starts with pain, right? So my story was, I had to really dig deep into myself and ask myself, if time and money was not an issue, how would we be living? Why? Because my wife had just literally gave me the ring and saying, hey, I don't think this is working out. She takes off, goes to Singapore with the kids, and I'm left home alone for 30 days. About a week into this situation, she's not talking to me. This is totally out of left field. And I wake up at like 4:30 in the morning. I'm going to work out. I'm in my car. I'm driving out. I happen to turn on Tony's channel, and he talks about that when situations happen to you, Tony Robbins, either two things happen. It either crushes you or it creates you. And I was like, oh, this thing my wife just said, right? This new information I don't like. It's either going to crush me, I'm going to give up, and we're really going to go towards divorce and we're not going to be with each other for the rest of our lives, or it's going to create me. So I decided that morning that it's going to create me, right? So she comes home 3 weeks later, almost a month later, and she totally sees this new guy, but she's still skeptical, right? She's like, whatever, he's changed. Temporary, he's probably going to go back to his old ways. She was skeptical. I can see that. But I wasn't out to prove anything to her. If anything, I was out to prove it to myself, that I was a changed person, that I was going to be happier, that I was going to make my family more of a priority, that I wasn't always going to seek achievement, that I'm now at the stage of my life where fulfillment is my top priority. The guy that you see now is not the guy that was here 6 years ago. The guy that was here 6 years ago was a total asshole. To the point where my wife had to buy a ticket to UPW in Los Angeles, and she was at her ends with me, to the point where she's like, if Tony cannot fix him, no one can. And we're done. to the point where they oversold UPW, and there were so many people there, and they had at the LA Convention Center, they like totally oversold it. And obviously there's a lot of people there. We had to park like 3 blocks away. There were so many people. To the point where I was so success driven, achievement driven, and like everything was tied to this success. My identity, who I was as a person, right? To the point where we're walking to the convention center, I'm using language like, why? I'm complaining literally 3 blocks all the way. We'd already bought a ticket. We live in Dallas. We already flew to California. We already got tickets. We already parked. All of these things are happening, but I'm still yet complaining. I'm like, oh, why are we doing this now? He's coming to Dallas 6 months from now. Why couldn't we go to UPW then? I use the F word. I'm walking to the point where I'm at the door, the convention center door, still complaining. Why the F do we need to do this now? I have 50 houses under construction. Why now? Why couldn't we wait till he comes to Dallas 6 months from now? And my wife, being as amazing as she is and submissive as she is, she's a traditional Chinese Asian woman, lovely angel in my life that God sent to save me, right? Save my ass. I'm complaining. Oh, whatever. Open the door, go in there. 5-6 hours of the first night, crying my eyes out, right? Hugging her, telling her that she saved me. Thank you for saving my life. I have no idea what was wrong with me, what was happening. I felt like I literally woke up, right? And my life has never been the same. Ever since that moment, I transformed my life, made my family a priority. And guess what? The crazy part is I'm much more successful now, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. But I had to ask myself, right? At that time, I said, okay, if time and money, honey, if it was not an issue, how would we be living? After we came back, she came back from Singapore after UPW, all the changes. And basically, that's kind of how we came up with freedom, right? To go, we want now, she's like, I just want more of you. I want the kids to have more of your time. I want you to be more like here, present, instead of like always building a business and trying to be successful. We have everything already. Like, but she felt like she was empty. She was actually, but honestly, she was lonely. So I said, okay, so we did this exercise and we both kind of came up with kind of the same answers, very similar, but it all boils down to, we now want to be at the stage of our life where we can go where we want, when we want, stay as long as we want, and bring as many people as we can. We wanted to move on to the next stage of our life, which is really more contribution, more love and connection, right? More growth. And I was all really certainty driven. I got to be successful. It feeds my certainty, my human need, my significance, right? That was my 2 major human needs. So when that happened, I said, okay, let's change how I've been doing business. So this is where my path began, right? After this pain, I said, I need to shift. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my wife. So went down this path. I said, okay, at that time, I didn't know this, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to build my next business to be an online business. I didn't realize that what I really was seeking was to be able to kind of have the freedom that I now have, right? I just wanted to start an online business because I felt that I can run my business then from anywhere in the world. Because my wife at that time, even she wanted to be more in Asia half the time and the US because her family's still there. Her mom and dad are there, right? So I said, okay, I got to build my business online. And I want to share something with you guys, right? The struggles that you are faced with, the imposter syndrome, the I'm not enough, the issues that you have with your offer even, and your life, your story, everything, right? Just remember this, right? Your ugly story will be the most beautiful part of your message. So don't ever be ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed that I was an asshole 60 years ago, that my wife almost filed a divorce, that I almost lost everything. right? Never ashamed of that, because that's what created me, right? And my struggles in the online space and what I dealt with there, all of that stuff. And what ended up happening was, when I decided to hop online in 2018, I struggled for 2 years up to 2020. And I had a lot of issues back then, right? And even though I was a changed person, how I was dealing with it, I was just like, man, what's going on? Why am I not? Is it because I changed? Is that why I'm not as successful, not as fierce, right, as I used to be? All of those things, imposter syndrome, like I lack of confidence, all that happened because I wasn't successful. And then two things ended up happening, what really changed my life. I got Russell was speaking at a Tony event. I bought a ticket to Funnel Hacking Live. Me and my wife flew out to Tennessee. That was our first Funnel Hacking Live, Nashville, right before COVID. Right. I go to Funnel Hacking Live. I see all the speakers and everything like that. And I saw these people walk the stage, win the 2 Comma Cup Award. I saw the speakers on stage teaching. And what happened that day was I changed one thing. The very first thing I changed was I changed my permission. I changed my permission because I felt that I was not, my whole identity was, yeah, I've been a successful entrepreneur, but offline, so I'm totally new at this whole online thing. And I realized it's the same. You've already done it, right? Running business is the same exact way. You're just shifting how you operate in it, right? The relationship building's the same, your offer's the same, your message is the same, all of those things are the same. You're just changing the vehicle in which you deliver. And I said, if these people can do it, I can too. I changed my permission that I deserve to be up on that stage. And I learned that it's not who you are that is holding you back. It is who you think you are not. The only person you are destined, really honestly, to become is the person you decide to be. That day, I decided to be those people on stage. I decided to be all those people that are walking the stage. Now I'm eyeing a totally different, right, result. I'm eyeing the result of, I want to win a 2 Comma 2 Heart Award. If Alex Hormozy was the first person who won it, I want that. I want to give $1 million away. I want to be like Peng Joon, who received this $100 million award, right? I decided to be that person. I changed my permission. Because if you change your thoughts, you change your world, right? And we do become what we think about. And that moment, I sat there and I said, I deserve. I realized something within me had to change, that God put me in that room and I said, I deserve this. I am enough. I believe. I believe there's a reason I had to go through those 2 years of struggles, because it actually is part of my offer. It's actually part of my message, part of my story. It was needed. Did I like it? No, but it was needed. Right? So that I can reach and talk to people that are going through the same thing as I have, that I've actually overcome. And it makes me more relatable. Right? Makes me more relatable. And if you believe that you can, just like Theodore Roosevelt said, you're already halfway there. You guys showed up here because you already believe that you can. You're just here to get the information, the strategies, whatever it is that you need to be able to implement, because you're already halfway there. Otherwise, you would not be here, right? And the second thing I changed my permission was the first thing. So there's a whole identity shift that you have to do within yourself here. That's why we are teaching the way we are, your expertise, what you're passionate about, the one message, the one thing. You have what it takes. All of these things is to help you change your permission. But the second thing I changed was my peer group. I dove in to become a Tony Robbins Platinum Partner. I joined the 2 Comma Club coaching program. I joined other coaches. I seeked help. I changed my peer group because I realized one thing: the quality of your state, just like Tony taught me, determines the quality of your life. And at that point in time, the state in which I was operating was causing the result of my life at that time. So I needed to get myself involved with a different peer group who had a different state than I did. Right. So I changed my peer group as well. And I found that the one of the most important decisions you can make in your life is who you spend your time with. Okay. Because it's not the how, it's always the who. So I dove all in that year. I decided to join Russell's 2 Comma Cup coaching program. And thank God I did, because that's what really totally changed my life. Because I realized that God always sends the person, right? And at that point in time, he was exactly what I needed. He was the who that I needed to figure out the how. So a year later, this is my journey. Grew my business to 7 figures, 21, 22. We ended up winning our first 2 Comma Cup award. I learned that the mind is everything. What you think you become. And sometimes if you're not thinking straight or your state isn't right, always look to the who, because you're trying to figure out the how by yourself, right? I need a totally different thinking. And whether you think you can or you think you can, you are right, 100%. And I needed people who believed in me and who had already done it, who are thinking that they can. That's why they're getting the result that they got, right? So in 2022, after winning the 2 Comma Cup award for our Done For You agency, I decided that, man, after building funnels for people, I realized there was a pattern. I realized that a lot of people who came to us to get their funnels built, honestly, they needed help with their business first as well. They needed to understand, most of them didn't understand who their ideal client was. They didn't have a great message. They didn't know how to drive traffic to their funnel after it was built. They didn't have a great sales process or journey of rapport building with their clients. Their offer, quite honestly, sucked, most of them. So I realized that not only am I should be building their funnels for them, I should really coach them on how to build their business. So that's when I launched 7 Figures Expert Academy in 2022. And it started on July 4th, right? July 4th, 2022. And I had the confidence to launch it because I actually had a couple too much to drink. It was a July 4th. It was a July 4th weekend. It was actually July 4th. And I'm not a big drinker. Like, I'm not a drinker at all. But my family is. My brother particularly is, right? So we're barbecuing at his house and in Minnesota, and he's pounding shots back and forth, right? He's got Hennessy shots, and he's like, "Hey, take one." I'm like, "Sure, take one." I had this liquid courage all of a sudden, right? So I was like, "Oh, people need help." So what did I do? I realized that people need help to grow their launch businesses, grow business, understand their business more, not just get their funnels built. So as part of different groups, my social media, a lot of different other like WhatsApp groups, and part of other communities. So I literally I messaged out. I said, "Hey guys, on July 20th, so 16 days later, July 20th, I'm going to run my very first 2-hour intensive. And if you're looking to launch a new offer or you're looking to grow your business online, I am going to just deliver massive value for 2 hours, show you exactly what we did to build a 7-figure business from scratch, from struggles, right, to success, all of these things. And, be there or be square. That's what I did, right? I sent it. I sent it to all these groups. I emailed it to the little list that I had. I posted on my social media, and I went about my life. Started drinking some more with my brother. I sent it to all these groups. I emailed it to the little list that I had. Next morning, I posted on my July 5th. I come into work. My team, I've totally forgot about this message that I sent. My team asked me a question at our team meeting. They're like, "Hey, what's this intensive that you're going to do on July 20th?" They're like, "Oh my God, I forgot all about that." I was like, "Yeah, I told people that I was going to train them on business." Said, "So, hey, can you guys build me a simple landing page so people can register for it?" They're like, "Sure." So people started emailing me. "Yeah, I'm interested. I was like, "Cool." And then I shot them back, "Hey, here's a, page that you can actually register." So my team did that. And now I'm like, what do I do? Like, what am I going to teach? Like, what's my offer? What am I going to do? So it's basically a webinar, right? So so during that time, those 16 days, I basically sat down and said, okay, I want to teach people business.
So I created an offer. It was a $3,000 offer, $29.97. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do a coaching / mastermind. That was nothing part of the offer. It was just, hey, I'm just going to be there for them every single week so they can come on and ask questions and about everything, funnels, offers, all of this stuff. And that's what I'm going to make. I was like, cool. So I built that offer. And then I built out what I was going to teach at the webinar. And I basically promoted that every single day. Every single day I promoted it. Right. And July 20th comes. Right. We had about 20, I think 21 or 22 people on that first webinar. And I deliver value. And at the end of the webinar, it was a 2-hour webinar. I made my offer, $29.97. And 3 people buy. So I made $10,000 that first night. And I was hooked. Right? $10,000. I was like, yes. So I said, okay. Did another post, ran another webinar the following week. And then did another post, ran another webinar the following week. Another one. So the first 6 months, I ran a total of 23 webinars and generated exactly $304,617.11. With no advertising, no big lists, no large following, right? Nothing. It was just telling people that I was going to run a webinar, train people, and to deliver value, and made my offer. That was it. And that's how 7 Figures Expert Academy was basically born, right? So now looking back at you guys, can you do the same thing? 100%. As a matter of fact, when I first did this, I wasn't really even clear. See, clarity, you think that clarity happens and then you take action. Most of the time you take action, then clarity happens. So I started getting clearer and clearer as I started running my webinars, and then I started running 2-3-day boot camps, and started running 2-day boot camps and 1-day immersions. I started getting clear who my ideal client was. I started getting clear my message. I started getting clear my offer. I started getting clear how I was going to drive traffic and how I was going to serve, how I was going to sell. Clarity happens after you get started, right? And then in 2022, we won obviously another 2 Comic Cup Award with this business, as well as 2023. We ended up closing the year with winning 2 Comic Club Awards. And that is a year last year where I said, you know what, I want to change this. I don't want to just win 2 Comic Cup Awards. I'm not destined just to make millions of dollars. How can I help millions of people? I want to be in the stands watching our members, our people that we coach walk the stage. That is my mission. That's what I want to do every single day, right? You're witnessing somebody who in 2020 almost quit going to Funnel Hacking Live to turning things around a year later with the same framework that we're going to teach you how to run a webinar every single week, how to teach you how to actually craft an offer in a marketing and a sales process so that you can either choose at the very beginning stages as you launch after these next 2 days, you're either going to make money daily or weekly. You're going to make a decision soon here when we get to that part of the lesson. Are you planning on making money daily or weekly? Okay. Because you're witnessing somebody who decided to do it weekly, and I started making money every single week. 2 years later, grew our business 7 figures, decided to hop in to become an inner circle member for 3 years now. And then last year, decided to become a partner with Russell, along with a handful of people, to build the Atlas Research Center in Boise, Idaho, where this is the picture on the right. We broke ground to build the Atlas Research Center, which is a library where we're going to host all of the who's of the world, and past and present and future, basically a library so that you can come and learn from past leaders like Napoleon Hill, all of those people, Peter Drucker, right? Russell has spent, I think, literally $50 million in the last 2 years buying books and audio CDs and all that stuff, where we're going to put it there. It's an event center where you can actually run your events as well. And that's happening in Boise, Idaho. So you're witnessing somebody who's done it. And just like those people that I saw on the stage, walking the stage, doing it as well. If they can do it, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
right? Which brings me then to my passion, right? So this is the framework. Pain, that's how all of this started. The journey that I took, and now why it's become my passion, right? Because I realized that I wanted to be a force for freedom. I know that when I was struggling, my family did not get the best of me. They got the rest of me for those 2 years. I said, how can I help other people and help them fast? How can I help them do what they love? How can I help them live the ikigai way? Right? Which is a Japanese philosophy that says, wake up every day doing what you love, what you're great at, that you can be paid for because the world needs it. How can I help people do that every day? And ultimately, how can I help people achieve freedom? That's my thing. That's what I'm passionate about. Right? Because for me, it isn't. It's not about making millions of dollars anymore. It's about helping millions of people make millions. And our families deserve the best of us, not the rest of us. Okay? And I want to be a force for good. I want to win that Too Hard award. I want to walk the stage and collect a Too Hard award saying that I gave $1 million away. That's what I want next. That's my next step. That's my next level. Right? Okay? Because I really do believe that business is a spiritual game. When you do great in business, you'll do good to the world. And I believe that the world needs more successful entrepreneurs in it. Okay? So any questions in terms of, as a guide, you have to have a mission to be the guide. Second, you got to have a message, right? Just like what I shared with you there. And using the best way to tell your message is pain, path, passion. Where did it start from? Because pain is your starting point, right? Where were you? Where were you been? Why did it motivate you to start this offer that you're trying to create? Path, what was the turning point? What was your journey like? What was your hero's journey? How did you go find that elixir? And passion, why are you sharing this with the world? Why did you decide to create this offer? Because again, people do not buy what you do, they buy why you do it.